Happy New Year, Christian educational class. Let us look at a historical review. Let us look at a true review. To the new generation of Jehovah people who are between the ages of 41 and 59. They are the generation that survived the wandering in the desert for 40 years. And they are the generation that had heard stories that blamed God, that blamed their chosen leader, and even their people's enemies for their father's misfortune. But in these 40 days in the book of Deuteronomy, at the border of the promised land, Moses, the instrument of salvation, Moses, the prophet, set the record straight. You can find me also coming out of the book of Numbers, the 14th chapter, the 1st through the 35th verse. And it says, the truth and nothing but the truth. It was your fathers, your ancestors, your mothers, your older brothers and sisters. It was not their enemies. It was not the present leader. And it was not their creator. But it was their fault. And Moses said in the book of Deuteronomy, right there at the border of Canaan, and I remained after those 40 years, and now for these 40 days to be a witness that grace was with them, your fathers, a new generation, and grace desires to be with you. In these 40 days, Moses said at the border in the book of Deuteronomy of the land of Canaan, before I leave, new generation, I want you to know what your fathers knew. I want you to know what they knew. That God is faithful. That God is holy. And that God is love. But I want it to be rooted. He was speaking to them in these 40 days. I want it to be rooted and grounded. I want it to be planted and established. His warnings. It says here in the book of Deuteronomy, the 1st chapter, the 19th through the 21st verse, he said to them, take heed to all the words I have declared to you this day, so that you may command your children to obey all the words of this law. They are not just idle words for you. They are your life. By them, you will live long in the land you are crossing, where you are crossing Jordan to possess. But listen to the prophet. But they rebelled at C.E.C. Deuteronomy, the first chapter, the 19th through the 21st verse. This was at the border of the land of Canaan. 40 years ago, their fathers was at that border. But they lacked faith. And now their children, which are now between the ages of 41 and 59, are now at that border. And this same leader who has only 40 more days on the planet is striving to instruct, to encourage the new generation not to make the same mistakes as their fathers. For it was not, he had to make that clear, the fables that they had heard, the bad reports that they have heard, that the reason that they did not 40 years ago possess the land of Canaan was Moses' fault. The enemies that remained in the land were too strong. And most definitely, God had failed them. But in his story, in his history review, in his truth, and nothing but the truth, he revealed where the fault lied. Because they did not take the words of God to be the words of life. As we begin to move further into this new year and study this book called the Book of Deuteronomy, I want you to know Deuteronomy 32 gives hope. Because if God sang, there is deliverance. And God is still singing. Sometimes it feels cold. And you feel all alone. But hold on. Better days are coming. It can be rough in this world, new generation. I know it is not easy, but hang on in there. I know better days are coming. We will go into chapter 4 of the book of Deuteronomy. Keep this in your mind. This man has 40 days. He knows when he is about to depart from the land of the living. And he has 40 days to exhort, I hope you can hear me, this new generation, and to also encourage his own self. Because maybe he thought he failed their fathers. Maybe he thought that he did not take time enough and was clear enough and spoke with more empathy and more conviction. But he was making sure that in these 40 days, his conscience would be clear. I know the Bible readers know what I'm talking about, because Paul said, I'm not hiding nothing. Because when I meet my master, I want him to know I did not hold back anything. Chapter 4, Moses exhorts, which means he encourages the new generation of Israel to be obedient, to be faithful to the God who is faithful, who is dependable, who is reliable. Get ready for the shift. Better days are coming. Happy New Year.